Hi guys, I'm Katie. I'm one of the tutors with CSA, and today I'm going to be talking about note-taking strategies. So notes are sometimes challenging to write because many times we're unsure of what to write, how to organize them, and then what will be important in the future when we're studying for our exams. So I'm going to be talking about some strategies to organize our notes, making them stand out, and ways to make note-taking easier. For organizing your notes, I use color coding a lot. So I also use this system by concept. So for all of the information about one concept, it'll be blue. And then for a different concept, I'll do pink or something like that. You can also break up your notes into terms, concepts, and then diagrams. So keeping all of your terms together, all the concepts together, and your diagrams together. And then including your professor's explanations and other important information. So I like to leave some space after concepts in my notes so that if professors give examples or different explanations, I can write those down as ways to help me remember that. And then it's right next to that concept, so it's easy to connect. Other important information can include your due dates, assignment descriptions, that kind of thing. And for that, I just kind of put that at the top of my notes so it's set apart. And then you can also preparing before class, that helps a lot. So making sure that you're reading that chapter so you know what's going to be talked about that day. Sometimes I pre-write my notes, so I'll look at the PowerPoint before we go into class and make some notes about what would be important and how to organize that. And printing your materials as needed. Some ideas of what to include in your notes. Again, those terms, concepts, diagrams, and flowcharts. And flowcharts can be really useful to show how those concepts kind of build off each other to be related. Parts of lectures that are emphasized by professors, sometimes professors will be really clear and say, this is important, you'll need to know this, remember this for the test, so I'll write that in there. And then sometimes it's a little more subtle, just by being repeated many times. And then I'll put a star by it to kind of show that it was repeated a bunch of times and it is important. You don't have to write everything word to word because that can be a lot, especially with those long lectures. You can use abbreviations or acronyms, whatever system works best for you. And then including due dates. So if you have an assignment due soon, kind of writing that due date at the top of your notes so that it is there right in front of you, and then any other important information. So many times my professors will kind of talk about that assignment and give you little helpful hints or tell you what not to do. So I'll write that up at the top of my notes with that due date for little notes to remember when I'm doing that assignment. How to make your important information stand out, highlighting it, underlining it, using other symbols to draw attention. I like to use the little star or do the little rays like we were when we did the little rays of sun around the item to draw my attention to it. You can also make that information into its own section in your notes, drawing a box around it or kind of breaking apart from all the other information, and then color coding that important information as well. So some ways to make note-taking easier. Again, kind of preparing before class, reading the information, gathering your materials. If you have to print, go ahead and print. If you want to kind of get a jump on the notes, to kind of write down those notes so that you can just fill in as needed during that lecture and you're not trying to write word for word as the professor's talking. You can also print your lecture notes so that you can write on those or PowerPoints to write on. And then you can also do electronic notes. On PowerPoint underneath the slide, there's a little note section. That's where I'll take my notes typically. And then also on your documents. So adding comments or through Word or Google Docs and that kind of thing. Okay, so my notes, I use my notes a lot to review for my exams, and then I also keep them for in the future in case I need them. I abbreviate a lot because that helps me kind of get the information down quickly. And then I also like to use highlighting and color coding, and I kind of use color coding by concept. And that's all I have. Thanks, guys.